Hi guys, this is Dr. Callahan for week 18 Monday for Algebra 1 semester 2. First thing I want you guys to do is keep in mind that for this first study guide, you guys have 67 questions. In class on Monday, we went over 1 to 10 on the video. Right now, I'm gonna go over number 16 to 20 with you guys in person on this video. And then what are you gonna do on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for week 18? To fit all 67 questions on there, because next week is week 19. I want to go over the second study guide with you guys. So this week your goal is to finish all 67 questions, study it, either watching the videos, going over on your own. You have the answer on the back of this, so you already know what it looks like, but your final is going to have questions that's going to be very, very similar to these questions, the same level of difficulty, same type of questions. All right, so with that said, let's go ahead and just jump in to number 16 to 20. And so I'm going to have you guys go ahead and turn over your paper to number 16 to 20, which looks like this right here for number 16. So take a moment, make sure you guys are on this page. We'll finish this up for the last 10 minutes of class, and we'll have 16 and 20 done. Now, I know I'm going a little bit out of sorts because you're like, we didn't go over number 11 and 20. I totally agree, but we will go over that tomorrow. So we're just kind of jumping around a little bit. So just be patient with that. And it doesn't really matter which one we kind of go over first. All the questions are fair game on the final. So ultimately, we'll go over all 67 of them. If when you guys watch the video from 1 to 10, you're like, I didn't really get everything down because you're going a little bit quickly, you can watch the video as well. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so looking at this right here, it says which of these graphs represents this exponential equation? I know this is an exponential equation because you have 2 to the x, and this little x is on top, okay? So this is where you have small numbers that grow very, very, very quickly, very fast over time. Kind of like if the human population got bitten by vampires and everybody's turning into a vampire very, very quickly over a short amount of time, that will be an exponential growth of vampires on Earth, okay? And so the graph typically with exponential growth looks something like this, where you start off small and then you end up very big, okay? So immediately as I'm looking at this, which graph does not match my purple graph? C cannot be it, okay, because it doesn't match in that direction. A cannot be it because it's not matching in that direction, okay? So now you have B or D. Now, do you guys see where it says -5? That means you go down 5 units. So which graph, B or D, starts at -5? Do you see how a -5 right there? This is where B goes up. So your answer is going to be B. Now, if you're looking at A, you're like, but what about A? What does A look like? Because it's kind of like backwards, you know, it's like reflected on the y-axis. Like if I were to take B and flipped it over on the y-axis, it would look like A. A is an exponential decay, which means you have very, very big numbers, but all of a sudden, do you see how it tapers off to very small numbers? So it's opposite of a growth. All right, so for number 17, if you guys take a look at this one here, it says which of the following function is equivalent of this? So f of x is equal to 1/3 squared. Now this is the one where there's more than one right answer, okay? So as I'm looking at number 17, what's another way of writing this? Well, I could go ahead and move, or I mean, one thing I could do is I could go ahead and just multiply this out. Distribute the 2 or the square. So I have 1 squared over 3 squared, which is 1 times 1 over 3 times 3, which is a 1/9. Okay, so that's another way of writing it. So 2 will be a correct answer. But then there's a bunch of other answers here as well, right? So what's another way of writing 1/9? Well, I could technically move the 9 on top, and I will get a 9 to the -1 power, because you could slide it up and down. You just have to change the sign, okay? So in which case, this also matches number 6, okay? 6 is also a correct answer. So far I have, I have 6, I have 2, and then let's see, what else can I do here? Another way that I can rewrite this, let's see. Oh, you know what? I totally messed this up. I'm so sorry. I didn't see that there's a 2. I put a 1 instead. So let me start from the beginning. Sorry, that's totally my fault. Do you see how there's a square? I thought it was a 1 for some reason, which is stupid. So it's 1 squared over 3 squared. No, that's correct. 1 times 1 is 1. Yeah, no, this is correct. It is 1/9. So this is correct. Sorry. And then if I were to move this up, it will be 9 to the -1 power, which is also this one here. Number 17, I think there was a little mistake, a whoopsie here. Another way of writing this is I could go ahead and write it as, another way of writing 9 is 3 squared, right? Which gives me a 9. But if I want a -1, I got to make sure that's a -2. So actually 1 works as well. So 1, 2, and 6 is your correct answer. So that is going to give you C as in cat. There's a mistake on your answer. Your answer says it's D. It's not correct. It is C is the correct answer. So there's a little mistake on your answer sheet, just so you guys know. And if you're like, well, why doesn't 3 work? Well, 3 doesn't work because this negative, if I want to make it positive, I just flip the fraction. That's a 3/2. That doesn't match 1/9, okay? For number 4, you're like, why doesn't that work? Well, 2 times -3 is a -6. That does not match 1/9. And 5 is 1/6. That does not equal 1/9. So those ones are not optional. Those are bad options. So it doesn't equal each other. Okay, number 18. Go ahead and take a moment and read that question. I know it seems very wordy and you're like, I'm just gonna say B. Well, guess what? If you guess B, you're almost correct because it's not B, but the answer is C. It looks really hard, but don't guess because it is possible for you to just read it and then make sense of it, okay? So the maximum height reached by bouncing a ball is given by this. Like when you bounce a ball, you guys, so here's your ball, okay? If you bounce it, it goes up and then it goes down, right? So this right here is gonna be the highest point, which is also the maximum point of the ball or the height of the ball, where h is measured in feet and x is the bounce. Describe the domain. Domain, you guys, is a key word. Domain means x value, okay? X value from left to right, okay? Of the function when x equals 0. X, again, is the bounce number. So if you think about it, with your ball cannot go to the negative height. So it has to start at 0, right? And then it can only go to the positive number. So when A says all real numbers, it's not A because that's including negative numbers. It's not B because this is all real numbers. So it could either be C or D. And the reason for that is because it's all non-negative integers, which means it has to be positive. Like the height of your ball cannot be a -3 feet. You're not bouncing it down underground. It's on the ground, right? So it has to be 0. And so then is a C or is a D? So then let's take a look at other little hints over here. So the domain represents the bounce and does not have unit. When x equals 0, the height of the ball is 10 feet. And that's actually true. This 10 right here is going to tell you when x is 0, the height, how tall the ball is, the highest it can go is at 10 feet, which represent the origin of the height before it was dropped and bounced. So your answer in this case is going to be C. All right, number 19, we have 2 more minutes, so hold on. Which of the following best describe the data on this table? If you look at the numbers, you guys, are the numbers going up slowly or is it going up pretty quickly? I would say it's pretty quickly, right? Because this is like 3 to the 1 power is 3, 3 squared is 9, 3 cubed is that, 3 to the 4th. So isn't it 3 to the little x number right there? Like the one we just went over, like exponential growth. So for this one, which one says growth, exponential growth? A as in apple, because it has the word exponential in it. And the very last one right here for number 20, which of the function had the greatest value as x gets larger and larger? Well, which one do you think will have a bigger number? Which one here has like exponential, which has that little 3? It's going to be right over here, right? Because that has that little x. So D as in dog will be the answer. If you're like, well, why not the first one? Well, the first one is a linear, so it's not going to go as high. This one is also a linear, so it's just going to be multiplied by 3. This right here is a cube, which still goes faster, but not as fast as the one with the exponent of x. So your answer is D as in dog.